On 5 News, the British victims of the Italy earthquake. Schoolboy Marcus Burnett was with his parents and his sister when the quake hit. Will Henneke Gottlieb and his wife Maria also died. The two families were on holiday together. Also on the programme, an optometrist is sentenced after failing to spot the symptoms of an eye condition in this boy who later died. The leaked NHS plans which suggest that hospitals and A&E departments could be closed. And still spinning with success, gold medal hero Max Whitlock gets ready for an emotional return to the gym which helped him become a double Olympic champion.
It'll be amazing. I've been looking forward to it ever since we stepped off that plane. You know, to go back to my club who have supported me the whole way.
Hello, welcome to 5 News. I'm Matt Barbette. A schoolboy has been confirmed as one of the 3 Britons known to have been killed by Wednesday's earthquake in Italy. 14-year-old Marcus Burnett was with his family and their friends in a holiday cottage that collapsed near the town of Amatrice. His parents and sister survived, but the British couple they were staying with also died. 268 people are now confirmed dead across the region, where the Italian government has declared a state of emergency. From there, Julian Drucker reports.
The front of their secluded holiday home looks remarkably intact, but behind the facade, little else remains. The back of the building shows how the quake cruelly tore through property and people. Inside, 14-year-old Marcus Burnett was sleeping. He perished while his parents and sister survived. They were friends of the apartment's owners, Maria and William Henneke Gottlieb. The couple from South London were today described by their neighbours back home as warm and friendly. This was the home from home they would return to every summer. Their 2 children somehow survived. The quake area has now been declared a state of emergency by Italy's Prime Minister. But everyday life continues within it. This man was begging emergency workers to be let back in his home. It seems remarkable he ever got out. Giovanni's family home of 65 years is barely standing. It's a strong feeling to describe. I heard a bang, he said. The wall collapsed and then I thought I would never get out. I saw the living room light up and I realised it was the light from outside. There was no wall. We ran out, luckily with my wife and children. Being alive is blessed. Then, for his own safety, Giovanni was escorted away from the area. The damage here looks more like an act of war than an act of God. That strong aftershock just a few hours ago has left this structure perilously close to complete collapse. Looting is another danger now facing this town. So in Accumuli and the other besieged areas, residents are questioned and accompanied back to their homes. The man in white, whose apartment it is, directs the team to his prized possessions. We watched as they rummaged the wreckage before they brought out the printer he needed from inside.
Yeah.
Sabatino can't return to his home either, after half of it was wiped out. He told me the quake was something unpredictable. It was so big. Everything happened, he said. It's unbelievable. It's going to take a long time before we get out of this. How do we rebuild? The quake's ferocity has toppled plinths and left long-standing statues, fallen heroes. With the search and rescue now over, can this area ever restore the grandeur which once stood here?
Julian, more details have been emerging about the British victims of the earthquake. Tell us more.
Matt, this is the street where those 3 British people died, and when you see the level of destruction here, it's hard to believe that anyone actually survived. Now, the colleagues of Maria Henneke Gottlieb have paid tribute to her this afternoon. She was finance director for the charity Children in the Arts. The chief executive has said that she and her husband were 2 of the loveliest people you could meet. Buckingham Palace has said that the Queen has made a personal donation to the Red Cross here to help with the search and rescue effort. They have done an incredible job along with the other emergency service workers. It is hard enough to get up here in the mountain, never mind doing the job that they're doing. We have seen some anger though today and yesterday from people who say that perhaps Italy didn't learn lessons after the big quake in 2009 about lax building regulations. A big question for Italy now: can it do more to quake-proof buildings, and does it actually work given the sort of force we have seen here this week?
Julian, many thanks indeed. An optometrist has been given a suspended jail sentence for failing to spot a serious condition in a boy who later died. 8-year-old Vinnie Barker went for a routine examination in Suffolk in 2012, but Honey Rose missed obvious signs of a build-up of fluid behind his eyes. 5 months later, it killed him. From Ipswich Crown Court, Layla Hayes has more.
It's now 4 years since 8-year-old Vincent Barker, known as Vinnie, died after suffering a fatal build-up of fluid on his brain. Today, the optometrist who caused his death by failing to spot that he had a life-threatening condition came to court to be sentenced after being found guilty of gross negligence manslaughter. The court heard that 5 months before his death, Honey Rose carried out a routine eye examination on Vinnie at this Boots branch in Ipswich.
Honey Rose claimed the eye test was tricky because Vinnie had looked away and closed his eyes during the test. But the judge said that was essentially a cover-up and there was no good reason not to carry out a full and proper examination.
Instead, she failed to look at the back of Vinnie's eyes or at photos that had been taken by a colleague which would have shown that he had a condition called bilateral papilledema, which if left untreated is life-threatening. Today, Vinnie's parents also came to the sentencing. A statement from Vinnie's mother was read out in court. It said, "The void in our lives will never heal. We will struggle to accept our special little boy is not coming home, and the knowledge that his death should have been prevented and he should have been saved is intolerable." Police say this is the first time an optometrist has been found guilty of manslaughter by gross negligence.
Yes, it has been groundbreaking, and that's correct that as far as we're aware, there has been no other case of this kind. And what we hope that this will do is ensure that the optometry profession review their practices and their policies so that this doesn't happen to anybody else again.
Have you got anything to say to the Barker family, Mrs. Rose? Are you sorry about what happened?
Honey Rose left court saying nothing after receiving a 2-year suspended sentence. Vinnie's family had appealed for leniency because she too was a mother. Vinnie was described in court as a happy young boy, and his family were praised for their dignity.
Layla Hayes reporting from Ipswich Crown Court there. Residents and rebels in a suburb of the Syrian capital Damascus have begun evacuating their homes to end a 4-year-long siege. A deal was agreed yesterday to clear Daraya, which the Syrian army has surrounded since 2012. The UN says only one shipment of aid has reached the town since the siege began. Lifeguards will be provided over the bank holiday weekend at Camber Sands Beach, where 5 men drowned earlier on this week. The local council accepted an offer from the RNLI to provide a temporary team of 6 lifeguards. And the last BHS stores are expected to close this weekend, bringing 88 years of trading to an end for the High Street institution. Administrators are planning to shut the remaining 22 branches by Sunday. There are warnings that NHS bosses are planning to close a number of A&E departments and scale back other vital services across England to help plug a huge financial black hole. And investigations uncovered plans that would see major changes to provision in 44 areas. As Charlotte Grant reports now, the strain on services has already become painfully apparent.
We know our NHS is at crisis point. A hospital's been forced to close its A&E department at night. The boss of another hospital stepped down over staffing shortages, and a children's A&E department has shut down. Just 3 things to have happened in the last couple of months. But could there be more to come? Today, health campaigners warned of draft proposals that could see cuts to NHS services across England.
These are radical changes to frontline NHS services. They're changes that will affect our doctor surgeries, our hospital beds, our A&E departments, and they show the reality of an NHS that's in the midst of a funding crisis.
The plans could include the closure of the A&E department at Midland Metropolitan Hospital. In Leicestershire, the number of acute hospitals reduced from 3 to 2. And in Leeds, proposals that could see the loss of 5 hospital wards. The NHS needs to make savings of £22 billion, but there are fears the plans won't save much money.
There is a lot of optimism that these plans may look to invest in community services, invest in mental health and general practice. It will be a disappointment if they've turned out to be shuffling services between big acute hospitals.
And there is anger, with one council refusing to sign the draft proposal because of their concerns it would lead to this West London hospital closing.
If you look at these plans, you can't help feeling that when people say that the government is hell-bent on the piecemeal dismantling the NHS, these plans prove it.
The government, though, denies those claims, with NHS England saying it's hardly a secret efficiencies in the NHS need to be made. They stress that plans are still at a draft stage and no measures will be approved without rigorous scrutiny. But there are concerns about what sort of future the NHS is facing. Charlotte Grant, 5 News.
Now, detectives are making an urgent appeal after claims a young child has been snatched off the streets of Surrey. A witness says he saw the child being bundled into a black van in Redhill yesterday afternoon, but so far no one has reported anyone missing. Simon Viger is in Redhill for us this afternoon. And Simon, what are police saying about this then?
Well, we've just passed the 24-hour mark, Matt, since the alleged abduction. They're working on 2 theories. Either it was an actual abduction or it was an actual angry parent just bundling their child into the back of their vehicle. They simply don't know. And as you say, no child locally or nationally has been reported missing. This is the scene outside Redhill railway station. The boy described as white, between 6 and 7 years old, wearing a red T-shirt with navy jeans. It's believed he left his mountain bike behind, but some speculation as to whether that actually is his bike. This is the van that the police are looking for, a black VW transporter van, an O2 registration with 3 of the 4 wheels being alloy wheels. This is what the police are saying.
It's extremely unusual, but given the credibility of the witness and the account that we've had from the witness, I've got no reason, and the investigation has no reason to disbelieve that it is as reported at this stage.
Now, the police are saying that the boy was taken against his will, but when I pressed the detective on this, he wouldn't say there was any evidence of a struggle or shouting, so make of that what you will. Bottom line, a whole day of local and national media coverage, and not a single other eyewitness has come forward. It is a mystery.
It is, Simon. Thanks very much indeed. Still to come on the programme. The controversy that's raging in France. Now a court suspends a town's ban on the so-called burkinis. And after his amazing Olympic success, we meet the children waiting to give Max Whitlock an emotional homecoming.
Can you do forward rolls?
Yes.
Can you do cartwheels?
No.
Can you walk on the beam?
Yeah.
Well, you're pretty good then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Better than me. Well, that and more coming up after the break. Welcome back. You're watching 5 News. France's most senior court has effectively overturned a ban that stopped women from wearing clothing known as burkinis on the country's beaches. The ban had caused widespread controversy after pictures showed officers forcing a woman to remove the full-body garment. Judges said it had dealt a serious blow to France's fundamental liberties, as Dominic Reynolds reports.
You might well have seen this photo of the debate dividing France. A woman at the beach forced by armed police to remove a full-body veil. Does her burkini inflame religious tensions, or should she be free to dress as she chooses? Now a French court has overturned one town's ban on the burkini, a victory for human rights groups who are fighting it. This is a legal response, he says, saying that as our law stands, as our fundamental freedoms in France stand, we can't let a mayor decide by himself to ban the wearing of religious symbols. It was after last month's Bastille Day attacks in Nice that local bans on burkinis started to spread across southern France. There are now more than 30. But it's caused uncomfortable scenes like this, apparently filmed on a beach in Nice, a woman in a veil spoken to by police. In another video, you can hear a policeman warning a woman in a veil that others have had stones thrown at them. But here's the band's most high-profile supporter, Nicolas Sarkozy. He wants to be president again, and he wants the ban to become French law.
Je refuse.
Yesterday, he was applauded as he said, "I refuse for women to be veiled at school, at university, in public services, in offices. I refuse the burkini on the beaches of France." The French Republic is built on the idea that religion and the state are separate. This debate is testing that separation, and all at a time when tensions over terror couldn't be higher. Dominic Reynolds, 5 News.
Now, Brazilian police are pressing charges against the American swimmer Ryan Lochte after he made up a story about being robbed at gunpoint. The Olympic gold medalist and 3 of his teammates had in fact been stopped by security guards for vandalising a petrol station toilet door. He flew out of Brazil before he could be questioned by officers. A judge in South Africa has dismissed an appeal to increase the jail sentence of Oscar Pistorius. State prosecutors had argued his 6-year term for murdering Reeva Steenkamp was too lenient. The state can still appeal that ruling, though. Here, nearly 200 people have been arrested since a ban on so-called legal highs came into force. New laws introduced 3 months ago made it illegal to produce, distribute, supply or sell the drugs. Police say hundreds of shops have also stopped selling them or shut down altogether. And Sir Richard Branson has told how he feared he would die after coming off his bicycle at high speed. The 66-year-old shared photos of his painful injuries. He suffered a cracked cheekbone, torn ligaments and severe cuts. Sir Richard crashed as he was cycling down a hill on one of the British Virgin Islands on Monday. He was one of the undoubted stars of the Olympics, one of many, twisting, turning, twirling and bounding his way to 2 gold medals. Now Max Whitlock is back here and he's determined to reap the rewards of Rio. Speaking to 5 News, Team GB's Golden Boy has told how membership at his local gym has soared and he's determined to inspire youngsters to follow in his agile footsteps. Ruth Liptrot went to meet him.
With 2 gold medals under his belt, it's not surprising that any kid who knows the parallel bars from the pommel horse wants to be Max Whitlock. And who's to say that this little guy might not be the one to do it? He's certainly in the right place. The South Essex Gymnastics Club, home not only to Max, but team member Bryn Bevan and Team GB coach Scott Hann. And tonight, the club will be hosting a welcome home party for their stars.
It'll be amazing. I've been looking forward to it ever since we stepped off that plane. You know, to go back to my club who have supported me the whole way. This whole journey has been incredible.
So what does it feel like to be inspiring the next generation?
I've had amazing messages on Twitter saying that their son or their daughter has started gymnastics because I've inspired them to do so, which is just crazy. It's been a big target for us to get more people involved in gymnastics, involved in the sport, because I wouldn't change it for the world and I want other people to hopefully join it and hopefully they'll love it as well.
This group are aged between 3 and 4, which is the age you need to start if you want to turn pro. So, in no time at all, the little one on the left could be pulling off moves like this. And the club's already feeling the Olympic effect.
Looking now for September start.
Paula is Bryn Bevan's mum and works in the office here.
Maria, the lady in the office, hasn't stopped, really. The phone doesn't stop ringing. Obviously, more people on the waiting list. It's just immense for the club.
And it's amazing for the kids too.
There may well be a future Olympic champion here, but it's about more than that. This lot are learning physical confidence, they're learning how to be active, and they're having a brilliant time while they're doing it.
Can you do forward rolls?
Yes.
Can you do cartwheels?
No.
Can you walk on the beam?
Yeah.
Well, you're pretty good then, aren't you?
Yeah.
Does it make you really fit and strong? Do you want to show me your muscles? Go on, show me your muscles. Wow, yeah. Do you think you might win an Olympic medal when you're big?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you sure?
Sure.
Brilliant.
See, confidence is everything in this game, but just look at that technique. It's a matter of time before we see this one on the podium. Louis Fliptrot, 5 News.
Future star right there. Now listen, I'll be speaking to Max Whitlock on 5 News tonight. In fact, he came into the studio a little bit earlier on and he had a rather unusual way of ending our interview. Find out what else he did, or rather what else he had to tell me in an hour's time. We'll also be debating France's burkini ban and the decision by a court to overturn. That's on 5 News tonight at 6:30. But that's it for now. Kirsty is here with the weather next. I'll see you again in an hour's time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.